Hello and welcome. Today we've got Dan Lyons, and today we are going to be discussing if plant-based food, or the diet, should I say, is a scam. And we're going to look at that diet. We're going to maybe talk about the carnivore diet as well. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to my Instagram channel at nicholas.veniamin, where you can follow all my daily newsreels. Dan, thank you so much for joining me. How are you, and what have you been up to?
Hey, Nicholas. Yeah, it's always great to be on your show. I'm doing great. I'm trying to keep up with potential World War III, but other than that, I just finished my workout and I am ready to go for the day.
That's amazing. That's exactly what I like to do in the morning. Have my coffee and then have a workout, and your testosterone and energy is up for the day, and we want to make a difference in the world. Now, let's talk about plant-based diets. So some people want to eat vegetables, and they think it should be an alkaline diet, and then some people are saying that they should eat meats, and it should all be meats, no carbs, and whatever. And what's your take on all of this? And then you've got the vegan stuff. Is that what you mean by plant-based? You mean vegan, or is plant-based actually stricter than vegan, and it's just pure plants?
Well, plant-based is the new terminology that means that, basically they're allowed to make synthetic food out of plants and chemicals. So let me just give you a brief introduction of why I want to talk about this today. It'll be brief. So originally I wanted to talk about something else today, but I've had a lot of people, a lot of patriots reach out to me lately telling me that they are on a plant-based diet. And it surprised me at first because, patriots, as you know, are awake and they're aware of the 2030 agenda. They want us to eat less meat. It's right on the World Economic Forum. You will eat less meat. You'll eat more plants, plant-based diet. It's better for the environment, they say. And if you don't like that, then, you can eat bugs instead. So I wanted to kind of talk about a general overview. It's going to be less scientific than usual, and more of a general overview. So I want to talk about why they claim they don't want us to eat meat. So it's because it's always, what they claim is not the reality. They're just using a front. So they use a number of reasons to justify this. The first thing that they say is that eating meat is bad for the environment. So they use climate change, and they claim that for every 1 pound of beef a person eats, it takes 2,000 gallons of water to produce that 1 pound of beef. And if you actually look at the data that they're using to calculate this, they're including rainwater. So rainwater that is feeding the crops that the cows eat. So this is extremely deceptive. This is untruthful. It's meant to push an agenda. If you subtract the rainwater that the crops use, that the cows eat, that dramatically drops. So they say natural resources, water is the number one, okay? And then they say cows release methane gas into the environment. It's destroying the planet. This is another deception, because if you actually understand even the basics of how the natural carbon cycle works, the plants put carbon into the soil and the cows eat the plants. The cows release methane gas. The methane gas goes up into the environment, up into the atmosphere, hangs around for about 10 years, turns into water, and then rains. And then it comes down and cycles through all the plants and the trees and the soil. So this is the natural carbon cycle. It's what they're using is a part of the natural carbon cycle. Cows are part of this cycle, and they're using it to push an agenda. They also tell us that it's inhumane to kill animals. Okay, so these are the same people, these globalists are the same people that own the food industry, right? And they're the ones that are treating animals like this. And then they come out with documentaries, the globalists come out with documentaries exposing themselves, right? Because they provide the problem and then they provide the solution. This is classic for the globalists, right? So we can see right through that. And then they tell us that plant-based diets are better for our health. They say meat gives us cancer, meat gives us heart disease, diabetes, and the craziest thing is the diabetes, because if you even understand the basic mechanisms of diabetes, you cannot get diabetes from beef. So this is an extreme deception, right? So was you going to say something, Nicholas?
Well, yeah, no, very interesting. What I was thinking was, what do they want to do with the excess animals that they don't want us to eat? And also, um, they just want us to eat bugs. So, wouldn't they lose a lot of money at the same time if we were not eating animals?
Oh yeah, of course. But they have a lot of wealth at their fingertips, and their number one goal is to reach their one world agenda. And their one world agenda, eating beef is just a pawn on the board. They would rather make sacrifices and lose money in order to eventually control all of the crops and, get us eating all genetically modified plants and eventually getting us into smart cities. I mean, you know the deal, Nicholas. We know what they want to do, right?
I mean, it could, although we know that there is an agenda of climate change, do you think they're also using their agendas like climate change to cover up other things? For an example, the more they, maybe there's a secret study that they're doing in the background that we don't know about, that proves, or they've figured out, that by feeding us GMOs, eventually we evolve into this non-human or transhumanism kind of thing where, I don't know. What do you think? Like, are they trying to change our DNA?
Oh, of course. Of course. I mean, we're talking about human 2.0 here, the fourth industrial revolution. I think that there's a bunch of steps in this. I think that they want to use the plant-based diet scam in order to poison us with chemicals like linoleic acid, which we were talking about on our last show. Um, I think that they want us dependent on them more. Obviously, they control the food supply, they control big pharma. I think that's the first step, is to poison us and make us more sick, so we're more dependent and locked in on them. So when they introduce this digital currency, we have no choice but to accept it. But yeah, I do think that maybe step two is to, put nanotechnology even more in our food. And we already know that nanotechnology is in food, but I this is all speculation of what comes after that. But we obviously know that they want human 2.0. They want, we know what they want for their end goal. So,
Okay, please, no. You're gonna carry on.
yeah, yeah. So I wanted to talk about like where we are right now, because obviously we're in the process of, well, what they think in the process of human 2.0, right? But we're still kind of on phase one, making us sick, right? So I want to talk about where we are right now with the plant-based diet. So a plant-based diet by nature, zooming out, is incredibly unbalanced, right? So it's lacking protein and it's lacking fat. And there are plants that contain fat, but they're located in very specific places of the world. If human beings globally were supposed to eat fat, then I think that vegetables containing fat would be available to everyone in the world naturally, right? But so you have no fat, close to no fat in a plant-based diet. However, they can put fat in there and call it plant-based if they're putting in seed oils, which they're using to poison us, which have linoleic acid, like I was talking about before. So they can artificially put fat in their plant-based diet. But eating a plant generally is lacking in fat, right? So you're going to have a big nutrient deficiency. You have vitamins A, D, E, and K, which are fat soluble vitamins that you need to ingest fat at the same time as ingesting those vitamins in order to absorb them. And this happens in a piece of beef, right? Or an egg or anything animal based, but this does not happen with a plant. The plant could be filled with vitamins. You're not going to absorb them unless you have fat with it. So the next thing that is lacking in this plant-based diet is protein. So protein, when you eat protein, your body breaks protein down into something called amino acids. And then your body takes those amino acids and builds them back up into proteins that become your body. So I'm not strictly just talking about like protein that in regard to going to the gym and building muscle. I'm talking about proteins overall in your body, system wide, even DNA. Every tissue in your body is built of protein. So amino acids build proteins, and there's two categories of amino acids. There's your non-essential amino acids, meaning that you don't have to ingest them. Your body makes them. And then you have your essential amino acids, which you need to consume in your diet. And, those are things like leucine, lysine, methionine, tryptophan, valine, and so on. And you need to consume these in your diet. And there's 9 of them. There's 9 total. If you have 8, you will not use any. It's either on or off. It's black and white for your body. Your body wants all 9, or else you can't use protein. You can't use those amino acids to build proteins. So then the plant-based community will say, well, you can make complete proteins with all the amino acids. You can mix and match vegetables. Okay. So a lot of people will say, oh, I could put lentils with almonds and create a complete protein. Well, like lentils are native to Southeast Asia, and almonds, 80% of the world's supply are grown in California. So that means you're relying on supply chains in order to put these two things together and make a complete protein. Why not just have a piece of beef or have an egg, right? We can't rely on supply chains, especially Patriots. And then on a plant-based diet in general, you're going to have deficiencies in vitamin B12, carnosine, taurine, creatine, and iron. So there's so many deficiencies in a plant-based diet. And it's just easier to have a piece of beef. So the next thing that I want to talk about here is cholesterol, because animal-based food contains cholesterol, plant does not. So this is a big topic of concern in the plant-based community. They want to get their cholesterol down because their doctor said they need to get their cholesterol down. Well, let me talk about cholesterol. So your body requires 1,500 milligrams of cholesterol in your body per day. If you don't get that, your body will make 1,500 milligrams of cholesterol. So your body requires cholesterol to live. All of your cells are made of cholesterol. So in a negative feedback loop, this is how the endocrine system works in your body. If you have your glands that talk to each other and regulate the amount of hormones and chemicals in your body. So if you require 1,500 milligrams per day of cholesterol, then let's just say you do what the American Heart Association wants you to do and have 300 milligrams per day. Well, then your body is going to produce the remaining 1,200, specifically your liver. So your liver makes the cholesterol. So if you have 1,500 milligrams per day of cholesterol in your diet, then your liver doesn't have to work as hard. So basically, your body wants cholesterol. Now, plants don't have cholesterol, but they have phytosterols. No one ever talks about phytosterols. Phytosterols are plant cholesterol. So these are things like campesterol, beta-cytosterol, stigmasterol, and these things, plant cholesterols, resemble cholesterol that you get out of beef or chicken or eggs. So they resemble them, but they don't do the same thing. They don't have the same action. So I want to tell you how dangerous it is when you have a lot of these plant cholesterols. So let's just take, for example, red blood cells, right? Red blood cells need cholesterol from from animal-based sources or from your liver that makes this cholesterol. Red blood cells, 50% of your red blood cells are cholesterol. Red blood cells out of every cell in the body have the highest amount of free cholesterol. And the reason for this is that so red blood cells can purposely deform and squeeze through narrow blood vessels to reach different parts of the body and oxygenate tissues. Okay. This is a natural thing that red blood cells must do. They must be fluid. They must be able to deform and squeeze through capillary beds, blood vessels. And this is made possible by cholesterol. So if you have a lot of plant cholesterol in your diet, phytosterols, it will compete for absorption of cholesterol in your diet. And it will also compete for reabsorption of your own cholesterol in your diet. So your body will recycle some cholesterol, right? Along with your ingesting cholesterol from animal-based sources. If you start to have a lot of plant cholesterol, phytosterols, I don't want to be confusing here. If you have a lot of phytosterols, it will compete for not only the absorption of dietary cholesterol, but also the reabsorption of cholesterol that your liver is producing. So slowly you will start to become deficient in cholesterol because of this. This is a problem. So going back to red blood cells, you will start to replace the cholesterol in red blood cells with phytosterols. Phytosterols are extremely rigid. Okay, so if you have red blood cells that are now composed of phytosterols, they are no longer able to deform and squeeze and get through narrow blood vessels. So now you have clotting. And because the red blood cells now become very rigid because of this phytosterol instead of cholesterol, they can break up. So red blood cells can break apart. They can clump together and form clots. They can also form plaque. So plaque would be the least of the concern. And, other than that, probably the worst case scenario is they can clump together. You can have a heart attack. You can have a stroke. And I just want to remind people, this is all from having a plant-based diet. I'm not anti-plant. I am eat plants while they're in season, the way that God intended. We should not be on a plant-based diet year round in general. And we should certainly not be having processed, plant-based diets with plant-based burgers and plant-based chicken nuggets and all these things that are, containing seed oils and all this extra crap. So this is just one thing that happens that's very bad when you start eating more plant cholesterol, because it reduces your cholesterol. Your doctor wants you to eat a plant-based diet because the phytosterols reduce your cholesterol.
Yeah.
And that's why the doctor says it, but it's not good because then your cholesterol gets replaced with phytosterol. And I have another example to give you, but go ahead, Nicholas, first.
I mean, this is why they're very against us eating eggs. I feel like eggs are. I always hear, "Don't have too many eggs. Don't have too many eggs." But get vaccinated. Get vaccinated. There's no trials on this. Get vaccinated, but don't eat eggs. And I feel like eggs are very good for us. There's amino acids in there that you can only find in eggs. And maybe it does give, it increases our cholesterol, but we need eggs for that reason. And they're lying to us, telling us that it can give us too much cholesterol, but they want us to eat bugs. So one minute they care about us, the next minute they want to eat bugs. There's very, very big contradictions here. They care about us, but they want to introduce 15-minute cities. They want us to have a donut to be vaccinated as an incentive. It's a very narcissistic, satanic agenda approach that they have towards us, very, very demonic, and then they want to enslave us with all this debt and interest, but eat bugs and we don't want to increase your cholesterol with eating too many eggs. We care about you. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting,
It is, Nicholas. And the disgusting part is this plant-based diet is actually killing brain cells. And I'll explain why. I know that's a shocking statement to say, but your brain is made of cholesterol. Okay. Specifically, your brain cells have these dense areas called lipid rafts, and they anchor neurotransmitters in every cell. in your brain. And these neurotransmitters, that's what they use to communicate with each other, is cholesterol it's the anchor for these lipid rafts, for the neurotransmitters. So what happens is when you start to deplete your brain of cholesterol, your brain will become now rich in phytosterol. And like I said before, with the same problem with the red blood cells, now these phytosterols will make these lipid rafts rigid, and you'll actually undergo apoptosis, which is cell death of the brain cells in your brain. So now you're losing brain cells because of this plant-based diet scam. And, I just want to give one more example here is sex hormones for reproduction. So LDL, specifically LDL cholesterol, is needed to create testosterone and estrogen in men and women, right? And they want a depopulation agenda, okay? So you kind of see where this is going. You need cholesterol. The highest amount of LDL receptors are on the testes and the ovaries to make testosterone, to make estrogen for reproduction, okay? So you cannot make proper sex hormones for reproduction if you don't have adequate cholesterol. And again, the plant-based diet, I know I said in the beginning that your body will make the cholesterol that you need regardless if you have it or not, but the plant-based diet actually sabotages that mechanism. Like I said, because it blocks the reabsorption of cholesterol that your body makes. So now you're slowly becoming depleted in cholesterol, and that cholesterol is being replaced by phytosterols. And just like the receptors in your brain for neurotransmission, your sex hormone receptors are also anchored off of lipid rafts. So now you're going to downregulate the receptors for your testosterone and estrogen, your estrogen receptors, your androgen receptors. So they're basically attacking this from two ways, right? So all the hormone mechanisms that you need to reproduce are being sabotaged through a plant-based diet. And again, I want to say I'm not against plants. God put plants here on this earth, but to have a plant-based diet, an artificial plant-based diet, is not okay. There's a lot of downsides, and this goes right along with their depopulation agenda, is to get our sex hormones not working properly, so we can't reproduce. So, and also one of the things I forgot to mention is this can spiral into insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, also from a plant-based diet. So insulin receptors are anchored down to lipid rafts throughout your whole body. And if these lipid rafts, the cholesterol is replaced with phytosterols, then these receptors are not oriented properly. They start to shut down, downregulate, and now you're in a situation of insulin resistance. And it just so happens that a plant-based diet is like 90% carbohydrate. So carbohydrate, as you know, is carbohydrate abuse is one of the main mechanisms of downregulating insulin receptors and giving you type 2 diabetes, or at least insulin resistance. So they're coming at this from all angles, trying to get us on a plant-based diet. And yeah.
It's interesting you say that. I really do believe that. I think if they're pushing this, if there's a trend in the world with this vegan thing or plant-based thing, or it's being pushed by the bad guys, and if they're telling you not to eat meat, we should be eating meat. And one of the signs that tells me that we are supposed to be eating meat is when you look at the structure of our teeth. We have canines. We're supposed to be eating meat. We don't have teeth like horses, where they're very flat, where they're supposed to just eat plants and grasses. So it's very, very interesting. The other thing that comes to mind is that they can't just kill off everyone. It will be too obvious. So the next best thing for the deep state to depopulate us is poison us, poison their immune system, poison the brain, make us lethargic, make us ill, get them rich in the process by taking their supplements, their medicines, whilst we have damaged our fertility and that we can't reproduce, to slow down that whilst they're killing us off. This is the whole agenda. Absolutely. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts?
Oh, I definitely do agree, and that's why I started. That's why I call myself the Patriot Trainer. I'm a personal trainer, and I'm here to expose all of these lies. I'm a patriot to the core, and I'm fully aware of what they're trying to do. And I didn't used to be fully aware, but now I am. And yeah, I just everything that you just said. They're trying to poison us. I think they're in phase one right now, um, of what we were talking about earlier. We're not, well, it's questionable if we're actually at human 2.0 yet with everyone getting the jab. Um, it's in progress, we'll say the least. So I'm all about exposing all of these lies to get us independent of their system, break out of the system. And I just want to mention my course for a minute because we're on this topic now. So I created a course, and this is all about breaking out of their system. It's a nutrition course for patriots, and it's about fixing your metabolism. A lot of it centers around weight loss because I'm a personal trainer. I specialize in weight loss, but a lot of it is more than that too. It's about reversing type 2 diabetes from poisons in our food, reversing a lot of the chronic disease that we're seeing, the diseases of the West, I call it. Um, so I want to just remind people, or for people hearing this for the first time, what they get with this course. So it's an online nutrition course for patriots. It's self-paced. You don't go into a classroom with other people. You can take the course at your own pace. Um, so you get that. You get a 40-question graded final exam, which is optional. You don't have to do that, but it's a good tool to test what you've learned. You get a shopping list where you can use that as a cheat sheet to take to the grocery store, so you can make better choices while you're shopping. You also have a cookware prep list, a food cheat sheet in case you happen to be out at a restaurant, or anywhere. You're at a friend's house for a party, and you can just pull out your cheat sheet. You can pull it out on your phone, or you can print it off. It's mobile friendly. I have a beginner sample workout. So this is just to get kind of people started on their routine of working out. I actually included a 20-minute abdominal and core workout video of me teaching how to properly train the core and the ab muscles. And then I think the most valuable thing that people have been saying for a while is I have kind of an unofficial coaching aspect of this too, where you get access to talk to me. You get access to ask me questions. Um, and this happens through two different ways. So first of all, in the actual course, you can comment on different lessons. I get right back to people. We can have a conversation. Patriots can connect with each other. And then also, people get direct access to my email. So if people are stuck or have questions, I have people emailing me all the time. And then I also have a private Telegram group for people specifically that have taken the course. It's not my general Telegram. It's not the one that's for everyone. This is you find the link for it within the actual course itself, and it's only for people that take the course. And right now, there's not a ton of people in there, so I'm advising that everyone that's in that group now, just make it your own group. You ask me anything that you want. So you get all of that for a really affordable price. And especially if you enter the coupon code NVTV, which obviously, Nicholas, you'll put all that info below, but you get 20% off. Make sure you use that code. Yeah, so you get a lot for the money. So
No, absolutely. I
that's
love
all.
that it's affordable because people are struggling right now and we're helping them at the same time. But this is what my platform's about, is about helping people, finding protocols and solutions, and also interviewing great people like whistleblowers and finding out the truth, trying to expose the lies and trying to make a difference in the world. And we're being censored all over. All over, we're being censored, we're being shadow banned, and we're not going to stop until we make a very big difference. And Yeah, well, Dan Lyons, thank you so much for sharing everything with us today. I will be leaving the link below in the description. The code is NVTV. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Yeah, I just want to thank all the Patriots for being open to this information and trying to get themselves healthy and standing up, taking a stand for their nutrition. And I also want to thank everyone that's purchased my course so far for all the positive feedback, because it means a lot to me. And everyone that knows me knows that I'm in it to help people. That's why I priced this course so affordable. So I just want to thank people again for being supportive of me, and I'm certainly supportive of the Patriot community. So yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. And we'll speak again very soon. You take care and God bless. Bye bye.
Thank you.